And I think a lot of people are unhappy with those cycles, but they refuse to change the patterns to change the outcome.
And even if there's failure along the way, it doesn't matter. It's not about win or lose. It's just about that growth.
So I think you look at people that have the success that you want in a certain area of life and then follow them in those specific areas that you want the same success in.
Robbie Shwert lost his identity as a college athlete after a near-fatal accident. And instead of playing it safe, he walked away from everything familiar. He left the US, moved to Medellin with no proof of concept, no guarantees, and built a luxury concierge business from scratch. In this episode, we talk about action over fear, why victim mentality kills growth, and what it really takes to rebuild yourself when your old life collapses. This is Nomology. My man Robbie, what's up, bro?
Good, bro. How are you?
Good, my man. The famous TikTok star of Medellin.
Slowly. I'm getting there.
We're getting
Not
there,
quite yet.
right?
Yeah.
So what's it like being an influencer, bro?
It's weird, man, because like for all of my life, I never really used social media. And then literally since April's like when I started my social media journey, I would say. Started actually posting stuff, stopped caring about what people think.
Yeah.
You know, the whole like, all these influencers talk about this. They had that moment where, forget it, let's go, let's do it. And no, it's weird, especially specializing in a place like Medellin. It's small in the gringo community.
Yeah.
So if I go out to certain neighborhoods, I was in like one of my low key spots the other day, and this guy's like, bro, I know you, I've seen you. It's not like I have like 1 million followers or anything. He's like, yeah, you're on social media, aren't you? Like, it's weird. It's weird getting recognized in a city, honestly. Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. And, you know, I remember 10 years ago, you know, I was doing this course and it was like a social engineering type thing that had challenges. And one of the challenges was you had to go to a restaurant by yourself and you had to pull your phone out and you had to do a 5-minute video and talk about your day or whatever and then submit it as proof of like you're overcoming like social anxiety and stuff. And I remember like I did it. And there was a lot of resistance. I was like, oh my God, like this is fucking hard. You know, especially like 10 years ago, like it wasn't as normal. Yeah. Now you got kids like just running around doing whatever. You know, they don't give a fuck. But I remember like 10 years ago, and it's crazy how society's changed to be more accepting of that. Where 10 years ago, people were like, what the fuck is he talking to himself about in the camera? Like he's not even on FaceTime. He's just making a video with himself. It's weird, right? So I think that's definitely true. You got to reach that moment where you're like, man, I don't give a fuck. You're always going to have haters. You're always going to have people that are going to disagree with what you are talking about. But through the power of social media, it's like the best advertising for yourself and whatever you're doing. Because, you know, people think like, oh, you only get 150 views. It's like, yeah, but before I would have to throw like a party or an event and then sell that shit for 2 months to get 150 people to show up and talk to me or just make a video. And 150 people are going to watch it, and maybe 5 are going to be interested in what I have to say, and that could be a potential piece of business.
It's very true, very true. I think a good mantra, too, to get over some of that, to then have no fear in posting is I heard something that was along the lines of, hey, if you had 100,000 followers, would you care about making that video? Right? You wouldn't care. You would just go out and do it. So I think I took that mindset of like, act and walk around like I have 1 million followers.
Yeah.
And then eventually that'll come to fruition. And like you're saying, it's not about the followers necessarily or the views. When you're doing it for purposes to push a brand, to push a business, it's all about the audience that you're reaching. Like you said, I'd rather give me 150 views with 150 people that want my services versus a video that I make as a joke and it's 100,000 views.
That's right.
Right. So
that's a huge distinctive point to actually realize. And a lot of people that were trying to sell me social media a long time ago were saying like, hey man, I can get you like 50K followers and this and that. And it's like, look, I do real estate. Like if I have 50,000 followers, people are probably going to think this is bullshit. Whereas if I have like, you know, 2,000-3,000 and people are seeing like there's like natural organic growth, you know, I only need one of them to see it, because in real estate, like it's much larger numbers. Like I'm not selling a product.
Yeah.
I'm not selling like a fucking, you know, like aroma candle and now I need like 50,000 people to maybe buy a $10 candle.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, you buy a piece of property, it's like $1 million. So if I can get like 3, 4, 5 guys that are down to throw some money at it, we can get a deal done. So it's completely different when you look at social media as like a tool and when you look at social media as you want to feel cool,
Hmm.
you know, because 100,000 followers, bro, you feel kind of fucking cool, you know?
Yeah.
But are you actually converting that to any business, or
Yeah.
is it just random followers?
Exactly. And are you adding value? I
Yeah.
think that's the big thing. Like, I never want to do anything if it's not going to add value to myself or to other people or to a community. So it's like, yeah, posting just to get followers, it feels really self serving. I think that that's not the right approach to social media. Again, especially when you have like a business that you're pushing, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, that's just going to come, it's a byproduct of you providing a good service, is the followers will come and you'll get that feeling. But if you're chasing just the feeling, you're chasing the wrong thing.
Makes sense, brother. You know, I want to hear more about your origin story, bro. You're from Chicago, right?
Yeah, born and raised Chicago. Yep.
Nice. What was that like?
It's good, man. Chicago's got a horrible rep. I actually just looked at this yesterday. We have some of like the most shootings in all of the United States. It is dangerous, and I'll get to why I'm saying that later. But it's a place where you got to be cautious when you're growing up, right?
Yeah.
I think at a young age, it was very instilled in everybody in my neighborhood. All my childhood friends all have like this level of street smart that I think is higher than the average human being across the world, because there's so much danger involved. So I think from a young age, I kind of knew that the world was dangerous. I kind of knew not to trust people. I knew how to act. I knew what to look out for in certain situations. You really learn a lot about how to read people's body language. So I think those types of skills that I learned, it's almost like I'm glad I grew up in an area that was like that, although that sounds counterintuitive. But again, I was in a neighborhood where in 15 minutes, I could be in a really bad neighborhood. In 15 minutes, I could be in the third wealthiest zip code in America. So I got to see kind of both ends of the scale and how the kids and the families of those really wealthy neighborhoods acted and how the kids and the families were in some of the less fortunate areas. So I think it gave me a really good worldview.
I think I agree. I mean, I grew up in, southwestern Ontario, and it has that similar vibe where you have this melting pot of a bunch of you got the Europeans, you got the Asians, you got all kinds of people there. And I think that it's kind of interesting how they do that, but they kind of take a bunch of people that some of them are similar and close, and then some of them absolutely hate each other,
Mm,
and they just throw them in the same place.
yeah.
And then like, all right, you guys figure it out. And now, a lot of people are bringing beef from their old country to the new country. So, like you were mentioning before, as soon as you get a Serbian and Albanian in the same room, you just
Yeah.
get the popcorn out.
Yeah.
and
It's going to be fun. Yeah.
It's gonna be fun, yeah. So, but it also, you're right. I mean, it does teach you certain things. Like I remember me and my boys, every time we go out, like we go to a McDonald's or whatever, like you got to pick the corner one where you can see both entrances. You got
Hmm.
to put your back to the wall so you can see what's going on. And then like people were like, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" I'm like, "Bro, you never know, man. We got fucking jumped at McDonald's before, and you got to scrap, right? Now you
Yeah.
got to be ready." So, but it's good. It teaches you these random life skills that hopefully eventually you will not need as much because you can level up out of that and become safer. But then again, look at you, right? You come to Medellin and suddenly you gotta, keep your head on a swivel as well, even though you're doing safe things, but it helps.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody about this yesterday too. It's like, I almost feel like I took a step back in danger.
Yeah.
Being from Chicago, going to Medellin, I get this question all the time, especially people that maybe don't know me very well. They're like, "Don't you feel like it's dangerous in Medellin? Don't you feel like, you got to be careful where you go?
Right,
Like,
right,
aren't you going to
right.
get got one day?" And like, haters in the comments too, talking
Yeah.
about one day this guy's going to get it. Bro, I'm trust me when I say it. Like, I think Chicago is far more dangerous than Medellin for many reasons. Here, the worst that's going to happen is a little petty crime. The worst thing that's ever happened is I was standing on a corner, and you shouldn't do this. I had my phone out. I was arguing with my friend. He's like, "No, I swear the metro's over this way. You got to make a left." I was like, "No, bro, I promise. It's one more street to the left." So I pull out my phone to look, and I'm looking, and this guy on the motorcycle pulls up to the curb, literally drive by, try to steal my phone. Got his
Yeah.
whole hand on my phone and like ripped the back of the case off, but didn't get it because I got that death grip on that thing. But that is literally the worst thing that's ever happened to me in over 365 days spent here in Colombia. So in Chicago, you could be commuting to work downtown and you're just caught in the middle of a drive-by that you have nothing to do with, and that's it. Like, to me, give me the people trying to steal my phone.
I agree 100%. I mean, this is what I've always said. Like, I feel like North America, you have this false sense of security just because it's North America, and you kind of forgive things when they happen because it happened happened to you in your place that you're familiar with. But when you realize, you know, random acts of violence are way worse than just knowing that having your $2,000 iPhone 17 Pro Max, where the average salary is $372 a month, means that homeboy needs to rob one iPhone to make almost a year's wages.
Yeah.
So it's obvious that there is going to be somebody that's going to try to just swipe that shit. But that's what's going to happen, right? You go walk around with a Rolex, somebody might be like, I kind of want that. Whereas in the US, I feel like you have like random acts of violence where some people are just beefing, like you said, and you're in the middle and you're like, what the fuck do? I got nothing to do with this, but now I can't really escape it. Or some dude's just having a bad day and he's got to take it out on someone. And especially for, like, I've noticed that driving through the States, you know, there's like random people that are having a very bad day. And like you can feel that energy and they're just looking for a problem. They're just looking for, and you can feel it and you kind of know how to avoid them and you know how to diffuse it. But as soon as you try to escalate, like they're looking for that problem.
Yeah.
Whereas here, you don't have like random acts of violence. You have very obvious acts of violence where give me your phone. No, okay, fuck you, you know?
Yeah. And it makes me think, like, I used to work downtown Chicago in a neighborhood called River North. River North used to be like the bougie area, and then slowly it got more and more dangerous. We, as an office, we had a lot of food options nearby, so we like to leave for lunch. We would always have to check this app called Citizen, which told you all of like the police reportings, all of everything happening before we went to go get lunch. And it was normal for us. We'd be like, oh, no, there's a shooting on Hubbard and in Wells. We got to wait. Like, let's wait and let's just order food to here. You know, stuff like that. Or you get some entertainment on there too. Sometimes it's just like a lady throws a lamp at a guy in the street, or Dunkin', or pours hot Dunkin' Donuts on guy in the street. Like sometimes it was entertainment, but we would actually have to check it to make sure that we could like leave to go get lunch.
That's insane, man. That's absolutely insane. And you know, I actually went to Chicago right after like the George Floyd riots and everything, and I'm just like looking. I'm like, you guys destroyed your own city.
Yeah.
Like Chicago was one of the best cities in the US, and beautiful, nice, destroyed. It looked like anybody want to film an apocalypse zombie movie? Now's the fucking time.
Yeah. And ultimately, I am very proud to be from there because I think it taught me all the things I needed to do to level up in life. But would I ever go back? No. Definitely not. If I ever lived in the States again, it's not going to be Chicago. So, yeah. Grateful, like I said, but yeah, there's nothing left there for me.
I feel like a lot of people share that sentiment as well. And, you know, now that you're living in I mean, because you traveled quite a bit as well.
Yeah, I think this year I've been on about 22 flights.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all over the place.
And you always kind of come back to Medellin.
Medellin's home base, man. It's like I've been to countries in Europe. I've been to other places in Latin America. I've been all over the United States. And nothing has really gave me the sense of this is home, except here.
Yeah, I agree the same way. And it's kind of funny. I mean, when people get here, like some people either love it or hate it. And the ones that do love it, it's the same story that I've had, that you've had, that we've all heard, is like, well, I just came and I just kind of never left.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think there's levels to it too, though, because there's a lot of people that ask me, I get all kinds of questions in my DMs. Hey, like, what do you do for income? How did you position yourself to live out there? How do you move out there? How'd you learn all these things, right? A lot of that happened before I was even posting about anything. I did a year of research looking for where the best place for remote people or digital nomads to live is. And there was a couple of options that I came down to. It was Mexico, Puerto Rico, Bali, and Colombia.
Yeah.
To me, I didn't want to be in Puerto Rico. I don't want to be isolated on an island. Mexico, I had been, I like it, but you know, it was changing at the time too. It was becoming a little more dangerous. Bali, you're just in a completely different time zone. And then traveling to see family, traveling to see people, you know, it's just not very feasible. So it was like, all right, Colombia makes more sense. So then from Colombia, it's like, okay, now what city? So I did literally a year of research every single day looking into it, started to work on my Spanish. And then Medellin was like the place that was supposedly the best to live as a digital nomad. So I was like, all right, let me go check it out. So I did a tour around all of Colombia when I first got here for 6 months, literally spent minimum a month in each city that I went to. And I knew pretty quick, like, yeah, Medellin is it's the best place to live if you're looking to be like a digital nomad. 2 years ago, obviously that things change and places change, and this place is changing every year as well, as you've probably seen. So maybe in a couple of years, it's somewhere in Brazil, right? But when that happens, I'll be ready to transition to it.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, for me, I move a little bit slower because I really like to like let my roots grow and try to dominate an area and really get into things, get into the entire environment. And I think this has been one of the easiest places to really do that. And everything's so accessible. So when you look at like the real estate, when you look at the market, when you look at the businesses, I've jumped into a bunch of those ventures, and everything's proven to be fruitful, and people are very helpful, and people want that. And I think that that's where like sort of like the opportunity is, where like, I'm sure you got stories like this, but like, you go to like Chicago, right? You got that old like landlord that's got like 1,000 fucking units, 2,000 units, and he doesn't do shit, and he's like the old guy from whatever, or like the developers, and like you worked with a lot of the, like you worked with like Turner and like those guys.
Yeah.
Once you're that, like it's game over.
Yeah.
Like nobody can compete with that anymore. You're just such a huge entity that it's very, very hard to have somebody come in and make a difference where somebody's gonna turn their business away from you, because you're just so huge. And right now in Medellin, stuff like that doesn't exist really. You don't have these massive developers, and the ones that you do, they're building like Tesoro Mall, or they're building like something that it's not even in your, you're not looking to do $125 million development. You want to make some money here and there, but you're not looking to do like massive project like that, and that's huge responsibility. But when you look at like Medellin, it's like now's the time to become that, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity here. A lot of opportunity. And I think especially for you being in like the real estate game, it makes a ton of sense to find that right place, settle in and build and grow and become that. I think I have like a little bit more of a voice for like tourists or people that are interested in traveling. So eventually, I mean, Medellin will always be home base for me. I know there's a lot of other influencers that have been all over, and it's funny, you always see them in Medellin. That's always where they come back to. So there's a reason for that. But yeah, eventually I do want to become more well-versed in other places as well. I've barely explored South America. I think actually Colombia is the only country in South America I've actually been to. I'm so close to everything. Why haven't I gone to Peru yet, or Brazil or Argentina or wherever? Part of that is because it's impossible to leave Medellin, because it's so, everywhere I go isn't as good.
Yeah.
So it's difficult, but
I agree with that too. And I think what's truly incredible is that, you've actually built something very, very interesting. You built like this sort of boutique concierge service for people, where they can just give you a call and talk to you about whatever they want to do, and everything gets put together.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, like, I've heard this story from a million people so far, where they're like, you know what would be a great business here? If I go, and I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, this is so, like, I've heard this. You're not the first guy to say this.
No.
But then when I met you, I'm like, oh shit, like he's only been here 2 years. In the 2 years, you're fluent in Spanish, and you were actually doing it. And it's like live, and we're talking about, I'm like, yeah, I have people at the hotel, I have guests, whatever. Like, now we're talking business, there's synergy there. Instead of these guys, well, I have an idea, it's gonna be great. I'm like, what is it? Well, we're gonna have this great concierge service. I'm like, holy fuck, dude. Like, how long is it gonna be an idea? Just go do it. It's not that hard. But then you've actually done it, and like now you're dominating the space, especially with the social media. So what's that kind of like? Like, what's your day-to-day look like when people hit you up?
Yeah, I think to backtrack even on that question, like, I don't know that you've heard the origin story of how that business got put together.
No.
Yeah, so Lux Liaisons is our remote concierge service, our travel service. The inception of that was an idea, obviously. And the idea really sprouted when I went back to Chicago in December. Because I went back to Chicago, I went to go open my car, and my entire side of my car was iced over. And that was the moment I'm like, why am I here? Like, what am I doing here? So I was like, okay, this is when I need to really start put this into action. And I knew I was going to be in the States from December to March. So I was like, let me network with as many people as I possibly can and figure out how I can start this, because I can't do it alone, right? I'm going to need a fulfillment team, and I'm going to need a back-end team. I know what I'm good at, and I don't want to deviate from that and spend time building a website when I know I should be out here selling and marketing things. So networked with the right people. Ironically, I ran into a friend from last Thanksgiving texted me out of the blue. This is a guy that, like, we have crazy history. I've known him since high school. We were like wild in high school, always getting into trouble. He disappeared, went to the military, didn't hear from him for like 8 years. Text me in Thanksgiving, hey bro, are you in Medellin? Like, bro, how are you? Like, first of all, how are you? I haven't seen you in 8 years. He's like, oh, like, yeah, we're good. But me and my guys from the military have a mansion. I see that you're out here, come through. Like, if you have ideas, show us around a little bit, whatever. Looks like you've been out here for a bit. I'm like, cool, yeah. So I pulled up, followed up with him, caught up on life and everything. And then one of the guys there, his name's JD. JD was super cool. He's like, bro, you've been living out here for how long? I was like, yeah, like 6 months. He's like, and you already like know all this stuff? And I was like, yeah. He's like, you ever been to Miami? I was like, no. He's like, Miami's like this, just American. I was like, oh, cool. He's like, yeah, he's like, I live in Miami. It's really easy to come back and forth. So if you're looking to live in the States again, I think it makes sense for you to go to Miami. I was like, cool. He's like, well, make it your last stop before you come back to Medellin again. And we'll host you. We'll show you around Miami. It's like, cool, man. Yeah, I'll probably take you up on that. I'm the crazy guy that, like, if you invite me somewhere like that, I'll probably take you up on the deal. So I go back, meet him in Miami, and he's like, bro, I have a crazy idea. What if we start a business with all the knowledge that you have, and then I do all the back end, and then we had another guy out here that's bilingual to do all the fulfillment, and we put it together as a team. I was like, bro, I was already thinking the same thing. So he's like, all right, cool. He's like, well, you're staying in Miami a couple more days. Let's see if we can get the ball rolling. So I'm just like, all right, cool. Let me hit up my personal network. So I'm just calling everybody, who wants to go to Medellin, who wants to do this, who wants to do that. I come across a friend. He's an artist in Chicago. He's a rapper. His rapper name's Mercaset. So I've known this kid forever, right? I've known him since high school. I call him up. I'm like, hey, man, you got any unreleased songs? He's like, yeah, actually, I do. I was like, how about we make a music video in Medellin for one of your songs? And he goes, I'm game. He goes, when? And he's like, I'm buying my flight now. I'm like, cool. When do you want to come? He's like, I'm coming in 8 days. So now I have 8 days to put a music video together with no contacts out here or anything. And I'm like, oh man, I got to start like hitting the phones. So I'm on Instagram DMing a bunch of people. I'm trying to get models ready. I'm trying to get a Sprinter van. I'm trying to get a videographer that's bilingual because he doesn't speak any Spanish. I find all of it in 8 days. I arrive a day before that we're going to go shoot this, get here, and I'm like, oh man, here we go. Next day, we shoot a music video for him. And it ran successfully. He's like, this is the best run and gun video I think I've ever done. That video is at about 500,000 views now on YouTube. Yeah, and that was the inception of the business. And then from then on, it was like, all right, we have something here. Like, we can make this work. So then I focused on networking out here, got connected to a lot of locals, and now flourishing, promoting everything on using social media as the tool to promote everything. And yeah, well connected. Now connections come to me, which is much better than me riding around the city trying to meet everybody. But yeah, that's how we came in inception. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
And that was March of this year.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's very, very quick. And this is the funny thing about it. Like, the energy down here, I believe, is so great that whatever you put your mind to is gonna happen. So if you got bad intentions, bad things happen very quickly.
Yeah.
But if you got good intentions, good things happen very quickly as well. And you just got to be comfortable with that speed of growth, right? Because I'm sure that you feel that sometimes too, right? Like, the rise, sometimes you get a little uncomfortable with how fast things are going. You're like, holy shit, like, all these random people know me now. People are saying what's up in the street. Like, that didn't happen like a year ago.
No.
And there has to be a level of comfort. And that's why I think it's all mindset, right? Like, that the growth it's all in the mind, right? Because things are going to happen how they want to happen, but you're always the one that's slowing things down. Yeah. So how do you like accept that into your being?
Yeah, I think it's always good to overgrow and then figure out a way to fix the problem.
Yeah.
One thing we like to say yes to is everything, and figure out how to make it work later, and then decide if that's a market we want to stay in. That's actually something that our other business partner, his name's Alicio. Alicio's born and raised out here. He said his dad instilled in him. He's like one of the few Colombians I've met out here that has like the American mindset when it comes to business, which if you've been out here for long enough, it's really hard to come across that. And he was like taught, I don't know where his dad came up with these ideas, but his thought process was always like, hey, say yes to business because business is business, and then figure out a way to fulfill it later. And if you don't know how to do it, this is going to be your trial to see if it's something you can continue to do in the future. So I think I took that same approach, and we all did, and we're all kind of in sync with that. So yeah, music videos is not like what we wanted to niche ourselves in, but we'll say yes. Yeah. And we'll figure out, now we've done it, now we know how to do it. Now we have the team to do it. So I think, yeah, dealing with when there's too many things going on and figuring out how to manage it. There's always going to be things that slip through the cracks. There's probably 100 DMs I get per week. I can't give everybody the same service. So it's a matter of figuring out, okay, where do we want to niche ourselves? Where's the money at? And we've branded ourselves as Lux Liaison. So the idea is to work with high net worth individuals that want to come out here and experience Medellin, opposite to what a lot of the popular belief is out here, which is this is a great place for backpackers, for hostels, for travelers, for quick vacations, for cheap things, right? That's what Medellin has been branded as. But as you know, there's so much high end, high quality things out here that people just don't know exist because that's not being promoted anywhere. So I want to be the voice for, hey, luxury exists here as well, and here's how you can get it.
Yeah, that's something that I think is very difficult for people to find because they watch influencers like you online living this lavish lifestyle or doing these cool things, but then you get here and you're like, how the fuck do I access that? Like for me, I like my partner showed me like what the experience of having like a full-time maid was like. And I never even thought about it. I'm like, oh, so you mean like a cleaner? Like I got Airbnb, so like so instead of like me cleaning, like I'm just gonna call someone, they're gonna come. Like, no, bro. Like they're just there, like
Yeah.
full time. Like they cook, they clean, they wash your clothes, they dust the fucking line, whatever. They're there full time. And I'm like, wow, like that actually takes getting used to.
Yeah.
It's weird at first. Like you're like, what can I ask? Like, what's rude? Like, is it rude to ask for this? Is this normal? And then you realize that they just love you. They just want to be like your mom. They just want to take care of you. And then like away they go. But where do you find somebody like that you can trust and that you can make sure that you're not gonna get, taken advantage of or things aren't gonna go missing and that they're gonna take care of, your life and your day-to-day stuff. And I think that when you get here first, it took me like a bit to find that because I had like the first two made like it just like the vibe wasn't right, and then like one of them like tried to sue us for um like some workman's comp stuff. Like
Oh
she said
man.
she was sick for a week and then she quit. And she's like, well, I still got to get paid for those days. And I'm like, you quit? What are you talking about? You weren't here for a week. Why would I? Like, you got sick. You were sick for a week. I'm like, are you coming? So I found a new one. And then like on the next Monday, you're like, oh, I quit. But you got to pay me until now. I'm like, what? So
For
if
what? Yeah.
so if you never quit, you would have just kept going indefinitely. Like I got to pay you for like being sick for 3 months. Like, but some of these things happen, right? And without somebody to guide you through it, it's just such a long learning curve.
Mm.
And I think it's a great benefit to have these things in your life, but it's also very annoying to go find them. So having somebody like you, where you're like, "Yo, Robbie, this is what I want my life to look like when I'm here,"
Yep.
and then you're like, "Okay, cool, super easy."
Yeah, and the access isn't really available. If you're here as a traveler, especially if you don't speak Spanish,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you good luck, bro. Like good luck. You're not gonna get into those doors. You're not gonna get access to mansions. You're not gonna get access to these things. Sure, you could go find them on Airbnb or you could go, Google something and trust whatever they say. But I think like the draw for people to come to me is one, I'm American. Like, so they have that trust factor with me because a lot of Americans are my clients. So they're like, okay, well, this guy, we're from the same country. He understands what it's like there and now understands what it's like here. Because think about it. If you're from Miami and you tell me I want a VIP experience in Medellin, what does that mean to you and me, right? That means, okay, these guys are probably guys that pop $30,000 tabs at clubs. These guys fly around on PJs, helicopters, jet skis, yachts, right? That's what we think of in Miami, right? That's high level Miami. Now, you could go contract a Colombian owned business, and I'm all for promoting Colombian businesses as well. I work with a lot of them as well. I never want to take from them. I always want to give them more opportunities. I want to make that very clear. But if you are somebody like that in Miami and you're looking for a high end luxury experience and you're going to a Colombian business to try to fulfill that, they might not understand the level of luxury that you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I will. I will understand. Okay, yeah, you want a PJ. Like, I got you. Like, whereas, you go to somebody else, you don't know what kind of service you're going to get or what's expected.
Yeah, and the thing that I found very often in trying to get high level luxury stuff from Colombians, especially the ones that are your friends or that you kind of know, is sometimes they're just trying to always save you money.
Mm.
And I keep telling them, like, listen, sometimes money doesn't matter. These guys just want to come and blow a lot of money. Like, it doesn't matter if you're saving him $1,000 across his entire trip when he's used to spending 30K in a weekend at a club. And your entire trip you're putting together for him is like 11,000. You're trying to bring it down to 10. Like, just who cares? Just charge him 12. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah, raise it.
charge him 12, 15, but make sure that every step of the way is super smooth.
Of course.
And sometimes that's where that gets missed because the mentality is like, well, my usual clients are telling me like, I want luxury, but I want to save money too. So remove this and this and this. And I keep telling them like, no, just include everything. Just go balls to the wall, everything, full luxury, as high as you can go, and let them figure out the price, right? If it's too much for them, then they can say something, right? And most of the time they don't, because
Mhm.
it's relatively cheaper than what you would spend in the US.
Yeah, and the majority of Americans here, the planes that are coming here for vacation, these are not top one percenters, most of them,
Yeah.
right? And I like to say, like, statistically, this might not be 100% accurate, but I say, like, if you're a 10% top earner in the United States and you come to Colombia, you are now a 1% earner in Colombia.
Yeah.
The math probably makes sense. Somebody check me on that. But in general, yeah, if you do want a luxury experience here, you can get it if you're a top 10% earner. But the problem is a lot of guys still aren't even top 10% earners that come out here.
Yeah.
So a lot of companies that are in the tourism business here are used to people trying to be a little bit more budget friendly. And then they get surprised when things are kind of like American priced out here as well. It's like, dude, you're on vacation. Like, you're doing tourist excursions. Like,
Yeah.
the price of gas for an ATV doesn't change just because you're in Colombia.
Or like the helicopters to Guatapé. Well, why would I pay $750? I'm like, what are you talking about? How much is gas? How much is a helicopter? How much is the guy's like license, insurance,
Yeah.
maintenance on a $750,000 fucking helicopter?
Yeah.
Like, you think it's fair that a trip is $750? Like, that's cheap, bro. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
all the prices of the equipment is the same.
It's the same,
It's
yeah.
it's a helicopter. It's a yacht. It's a
Yeah.
jet, bro.
Yeah.
It's like, just because it's stationed in Colombia, that doesn't make it cheaper.
Yeah, it's not made of different things.
Yeah, exactly. But people get this delusion that everything in Colombia is cheaper. It's like, no, it's not true.
No,
It's really not
definitely
true.
You know, that's something that I think a lot of people get surprised by. So, you know, I want to ask you, you know, in all your journeys and everything that you've been kind of doing and going through, all the highs and lows, what would you say was your darkest moment?
It was probably that period between, like, when I got back in December last year, and it was freezing cold out. I'm spending my birthday alone. Like, it was just like a moment where I'm like, man, what am I doing? Like, I have this idea, but I don't know how to put it into reality. I don't know how to put it to life. I had already planned out to move back to Colombia at that point. So I booked all my flights to visit all my family members within the United States. But at that point, I didn't have, I was quitting my corporate job and I didn't have a business actually started yet. It was just a concept and belief in myself. And I used that trip to also try to network with people. So every single stop, I hit like 10 cities, Miami being the last one. Miami, of all places, was the last stop and the place where my business actually came to life. So that gap between, it's like I'm flying around the United States saying bye to everybody, telling them, hey, I'm going to go live in Colombia. I'm going to go live in Medellin, with literally no proof of concept, with no concrete idea. Everybody calling me crazy. Everybody like, bro, what are you doing? You know, a lot of doubt, a lot of saying bye to people that probably won't talk to me again as well. So it's just like I'm kind of in a way cutting ties with a lot of people because as you know, once you're at a distance, like your real friends will show up and the people that were kind of maybe on the fence fall off.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like this moment where like a lot of stuff, it was starting a new chapter, and like anything, like starting something new, especially from the beginning, it's like there's nothing, you just have those moments where you're like, man, am I making the right decision? Like, is everybody else right? Am I the one that is wrong? Should I just pick up a new job and stay in the United States? Like, am I making the wrong decisions? You have that self-doubt, especially when you're not planted in one place for very long. You have a lot of time alone, a lot of time on flights, thinking about everything, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that was probably like my most recent darkest moments. But self-belief always has to be stronger than other people's doubts. So I think you lean into what you really believe and you put it to action. And I think action cures fear. So when you go to action, when you take action towards something, that's little by little chopping away at the fear that it can't happen, or it's not meant for you, or I'm not the type of person that can succeed in this. So the more action you take, the more your fear goes away. And the busier you are, the less time you have to be depressed. The less time you have to be sad about
Angie,
anything.
clip that.
Yeah, it's true. Like, if you're too busy
That's
worrying
bars,
about
bro.
all these things happening in your life, I got this meeting, I got this call, who's gonna sit there and think like, man, I'm sad about my life right now. You don't have time to be sad. You got to do stuff.
Very
so
true.
I think you got to stay in motion always. And action cures fear, and action also cures depression.
You know what's funny? I was watching. There was like an ad that was like targeting me yesterday. It was like AVIO, some shit like that, and it's talking about like ADHD, right? And it's like Like people with ADHD, you cannot succeed with discipline because it doesn't work the same way for you. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, you know what? That's so true because like for me, um, I have like that like stubbornness and that work ethic where I'll just go and do a bunch of stuff. But I also have ADHD where I'm like trying to do a lot of things. And for me, what simulates that discipline and getting all the things done is if I'm consistently busy. So if I'm consistently busy with a bunch of people asking me questions like, what do we do about this? What do we do about that? You got to do this and that. I feel at peace. I feel like, oh, okay, the pace that this is going at is comfortable. It's like really busy and chaotic to most people, but it's almost like OCD satisfying to me. Whereas when it's like, hey, let's do one thing and then just focus on it for like X amount of years, like consistently doing the same. I'm like, holy fuck, that sounds like a nightmare, bro.
Yeah.
That sounds like way too much free time. And that free time is gonna completely take my mind into a different direction. So I need something that is like occupying those like idle hours. So when I can go turn off, I'm like almost like tired and exhausted. So I can just do whatever, but I'm not gonna go too far. Whereas like, people like do like 8-hour workday and then you got another 8 hours to do fucking what, bro? like
Yeah.
I'm literally opening another business or something. Like I gotta do some of those 8 hours.
But
Like
people back home, what
Yeah.
they do at that time is they consume media, they watch sports, they go hang out at the bar with their friends. They kind of get trapped into this like cycle that they think is going to make them happy. And I think a lot of people are unhappy with those cycles, but they refuse to change the patterns to change the outcome.
Yeah. I think that's very scary to me. I mean, stagnation is my biggest fear. And if I'm not exponentially growing, it's extremely like appalling to me. It just feels terrible to exist. So I have to change something to have that growth. And even if there's failure along the way, it doesn't matter. It's not about win or lose. It's just about that growth because like a lot of those wins and losses don't matter in the end anyway.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure there's things that you wanted to do in your life that you completely fucking just flopped on and failed.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And now you're like, I don't think I would have wanted to do that anyway. Who really cares? But the lessons I learned from the failure are very useful now.
Of course. Yeah, any successful entrepreneur or business owner, I guarantee you, it's not their first business. The success that you're seeing, it's not their first business. 100%. You're seeing this successful person, you're like, man, they had that idea one day and they started it and now it's going amazing. Bro, they had 17 ideas before that and they started probably half of them and they all failed. So
Bars, bro.
like when people look and idolize people like that and they're like, man, you just need that one idea. No, you actually need like 30, right?
Yeah,
You actually got to go try a bunch of things
Yeah.
and see actually what is for you.
Yeah.
And I think people get so caught up in paralysis by analysis.
Yes.
Like, well, like if I just position myself right, not just do something. Just do something.
Just do stuff.
And if it doesn't work, whatever.
Yeah.
Move on to the next thing. Oh, but my friends are gonna be like, well, what happened to that little business? Who cares, bro? They're still in their same situation, right? Like you shouldn't care about what other people are telling you.
That is such a heavy one, bro. That is such a fun.
Yeah.
Dude, that actually, man, like for me, dude, Airbnb was fucking chaotic.
I bet.
And now I have a hotel. It was like, what? Bro, but it was so bullshit. Like I started like way back in the day, like 2017, I had an Airbnb, and I had it because like, it was like, I was doing like my first flip and like everything, the worst things that could happen happened. Like I had a wall fall down, like the whole kitchen is just exposed. Like the contractors coming in are like knuckleheads. I'm paying them cash because we can't afford to pay for the real ones and pay taxes. So we're just like, here, bro, can you do this for $1,000? Yeah, bro, I got you. Now they're like fucking everything up. So when we finally finish, I'm trying to sell this for like a flip. Can't do it. Like market was just like stagnant. Nothing was happening. I'm like, fuck. Okay, let's turn it into an Airbnb. So we turn it into an Airbnb and then we have literally the most amount of like horrible parties, hookers, fucking drugs. We had a mom bring her kids, like 30 kids of like 9 to 12. And she had their birthday party at our Airbnb. And we're like, what the fuck? So we're checking the cameras. Kids are climbing on the fucking roof. The neighbors are calling like, yo, there's like 12-year-olds on your roof. Like, what the fuck? Like, we go there. They're hiding in the cupboards. We're like, get the fuck out of here. What are you doing? So we kick them out. We go to the mom. Like, what's wrong? Why would you do this? She's like, well, I didn't want to do this in my house.
Oh, so yeah, your house is better.
Fair enough. So just fuck me over then. So the amount of repairs we had, bro, we had a guy on standby just to fix holes in the wall. Because like the amount of people just punching holes in the wall in that area, like I don't understand what it is, like a hobby or a sport. But It was ridiculous. And then like, okay, fine. So I stopped that, and then we sold it for a small profit in the end. And then I started again, and then the regulations came and killed it.
Mm.
And then I went to the US, and I had some bad partners that ended up stealing from an investor, scamming me. Um, they took control of everything, all the bank accounts, whatever. We still have like litigation with them.
Oh man.
Um, and then we started again after that. And like for that part, like I had a cousin that was involved. And he was like a hotel manager. And we got this big course. We started running this stuff. And then the dude just, I don't know, just gave up, just didn't believe in it. And then I had to restart again. And then I finally like found a partner, and we started building everything up. We got to a decent amount, like we got to a decent portfolio, and then something happened with them and my other partner, and then they split up again. And then eventually, during this time, I'm like, you know what? I keep trying to do this Airbnb. I'm just gonna go fucking try to buy a hotel. And I actually bought a hotel before the Airbnb business stabilized.
Oh man.
And I was like, man, should I have been just trying to do this from the beginning? You're kind of like, fuck. But I already had all the momentum
Yeah.
from all the failures, that the momentum carried through, so that when the hotel purchase got hard, like that was extremely difficult. That was 9 months of horrific negotiations, like blood, sweat, and tears. Like, the owner trying to do anything and everything to fuck the deal up. And it was actually tremendously difficult. It was one of the most difficult deals that I've ever done. And I've done like fucking thousands of wholesale deals and shit. So when you look at that, it kind of prepares you for that. So that's like your biggest teacher, is like those failures.
Hmm. And how did you deal with maybe friends back home, or like people that were in your circle, maybe not entrepreneur? I don't know if you only roll
Yeah.
with entrepreneurs, but like people that maybe don't understand the world that you're playing in. How did you deal with, conversations that maybe they're asking you like, hey man, how's business going? And like all that crazy stuff's happening, everything's going wrong. How do you deal with those conversations? And like, how did you feel about talking about that with people?
I completely eliminated everybody out of my life. And it happened to me when one of my friends, one of my best friends that I actually came down to Colombia with, I got him out of his job, and I said, dude, let's just go do business in Colombia. Like I already have things happening. Just join in and figure out where to fit in, and I'll take care of the rest. And we tried that for about 3 months, until eventually he blew up. He blew up, and he said, this isn't for me. I can't handle this pressure. I don't like thinking about what you're gonna do tomorrow. And I don't know if you're gonna be extremely happy or extremely mad, or you're gonna be blowing up because things are blowing up, or you're gonna be super happy because everything's going well. Like I don't like that. I don't like that pressure. And I was like, but dude, we're gonna buy a hotel. We're gonna no. He's like, bro, I don't believe that. I literally love you, but I don't believe that we're gonna buy a hotel. I just don't see it. I don't know how it's possible. And I think I'm holding you back. And I was like, fuck. He's like, I'm going back to Canada. This entire thing made me appreciate my life so much more. I want to go back to doing what I do. I want to know that if I gotta, come into work late, I'm valuable enough that no one's gonna give a fuck to give me shit. And if I gotta stay a little bit extra after work to make up for it, that's like the worst thing that can happen in my day. And when I go home, I can choose to go to the bar and have a drink, or smoke a joint and cruise to music, or just go home and watch movies all night, wake up in the morning and do it all over again. That gives me a certain level of peace, that it just works for me. And this chaos that you live in, I don't like it. I don't want to be in it, and I'm holding you back. So I got to leave. And I was like, fuck, bro, you know? Tears, sadness, hugs. Fuck, no, my bro, like we
Yeah.
were gonna do, and it didn't work out. And then it made me realize something, and I really thought of it like, okay, well, if like my best friend thought this way, but was man enough to tell me, I'm holding you back, go do your thing. We can't do the same thing. Still friends, still best friends, still love you to death, but I just can't live in your world, and I know you don't want to live in mine. So we need to separate the worlds. And that really made me realize that there's no reason to keep up with people. There's no reason to keep in touch. There's no reason to, you know, keep up in that way. Like, I love to go to Canada, see my friends, talk about shit, whatever, shoot the shit, talk about nonsense, hang out, whatever, and then go back to my life. They go back to their life. But there's no need to have weekly, like catch
No.
ups. Like, hey, dude, how's your 9 to 5 compared to, hey, dude, what's going on with your renovation at the hotel? Did you get scammed by the fucking architect and the construction guys?
Yeah.
Or is everything perfect and you got like a crew of 50 people coming to boost your occupancy and you're going to make a ton of money?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. It's fucking chaotic.
Yeah.
Whereas over there, it's like, what am I going to check up on? Like, it's not
It's the same. Yeah.
right? So it's the same. They kind of, and they like that. Some of them have kids, some of them are married, some of them like that monotile, like exponential growth, but on a pathway.
Mhm.
And I realized that you have to cut those ties emotionally and energetically, and you have to keep it. You have to have like a professional friendship.
Mhm.
And I think it's a new term that I realized. You can be friends with everybody, but you can't involve them in the things that you're doing.
No.
And you can't like share that energy, because as soon as you do, friends are friends. They're going to try to help, but they're not qualified to help. And their help is just going to turn into more doubt for you. And everything that we do, there's doubt. I mean, don't you have doubt about like tomorrow and about, next month? Are you going to get business or not? I'm sure you know that you will, but still there's a chance that you might not.
Yeah. What if everything falls apart?
What if
tomorrow?
everything falls apart
Yeah,
tomorrow?
because at the end of the day, it's us on the line,
Yeah.
right? Like there's no salary involved. There's no, it's all on you. At the end of the day, it's all
That's
on you.
it.
But you make a good point there. Yeah, it's when you involve people that have that kind of, and I'm not shaming this, but when you do have like that 9 to 5 work mindset and you enjoy that consistency and how that life is, you cannot involve those people in business because they're gonna treat it like work. They're gonna treat it like that. Whereas we don't count hours, right? We don't count hours. We don't count. Oh, I did enough today. Let me call it a day. It's a never ending cycle. We're just on go at 24. You wake up. I imagine you're on go as soon as you get up.
Yeah.
You might have a little morning routine to like get into the flow, but in general, it's like we're just on go 24/7. And I do have a lot of friends back home that are like 9 to 5 type of people, and I love them. I have nothing bad to say about what they're doing and the choices they're making in their life. I'm happy for them. A lot of them, like you said, are married. Some have kids. But one thing I did right before I left for good, and I told everybody, you guys all owe me a trip now. I'm not going back to see you guys anymore. I already did that. So you guys got to come here if you want to see me. But what I tell like some of my closest friends is, hey, or who I thought were my closest friends back home, is, hey, when I'm gone, you can FaceTime me at any moment you want. I'm not going to guarantee I'm going to stay on the phone with you for a long time, but I'm always going to pick up and I'm going to show you what's going on in my life. And I wanted to see who's going to take me up on that, right? Because those are the people that are actually interested in what's happening in my life that probably want good for me in my life, right? So it's just like a good way to separate out, okay, who actually cares and who doesn't care. And I do have a couple friends that they will FaceTime me and I'll be in like the most random scenario and I'll pick up, I'll be like, bro, I can't talk right now, but like, look where I'm at or like, look who I'm with. And they're like, bro, that's crazy. Tell me about it later. Cool. But I think that's how I've now maintained friendships back home. And like you said, it's not like a daily check-in or a weekly check-in. It's just sporadic,
Yeah.
It's sporadic. Hey, how's life? Oh, here's what's happened since we last talked. Cool.
And I think it's the best. And I think that's the best way to keep up is just random spurts of like, oh, here's all the bullshit that happened. Here's all the fun things that happened, whatever.
Yeah.
And as soon as you have that like kind of like brain dump, you're kind of rebonding again and you're kind of maintaining your relationship more than you are trying to involve each other in each other's lives where, I'm going to look at what they're doing. I'm going to say, well, why aren't you investing your money like this and this? Why aren't you doing this for the future? Why aren't you like future proofing this decision? Da, da, da. And they're going to be like, bro, what the fuck you talking about? Like, I don't want to talk about this.
Yeah, I just want to chop it up.
Did you see the last UFC? Like, bro, fucking Islam fucking hugged JDR. I'm like, fuck, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So it's like, so what do we want to talk about? And I think when you like brain dump like that, it's better because there's no actionable like steps to take. Whereas the more you talk, like you're the same as the 5 people you talk to the most, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we keep talking, like there's going to be a conflict. And that's what I noticed a lot. So my relationships, my friendships got better after I stopped sharing and going too far into things, and just started to enjoy them for what we used to be when we were kids or when we were in high school and we were just playing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Because then we were kind of on the same page, like who's gonna get the best KDR ratio or who's gonna get a fucking nuke.
Yeah.
that was it. That was the goal, right?
Yeah.
So how do you like maintain that? And I think that's a skill set as well, because sometimes you need those friends. Sometimes things are going in a certain way, whether it's great or it's bad. You need the people that are going to celebrate your wins, and you need the people that are going to be there to, help you pick yourself back up when you do fail. And sometimes you just need a reset.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to go back home and do the Timmy's or Dunkin', parking lot till 3 a.m. thing and just chill and smoke a fucking blunt with the boys and just talk nonsense. And then
Adidas tracksuit for you.
Adidas tracksuit, Slav squat a little bit.
Yeah.
Get that reset and then go back at it, right? And
100%.
That's the point of friends. They're there to pick you up and to celebrate your wins, but not every friend is supposed to be, a business partner and go down that same path. And
how do you decompress? How do you enjoy, like, I know we, as an entrepreneur, I imagine you find passion and excitement in doing business, and like that's something you probably, like, you got, as we say in Spanish, you got ganas for it, right? You got like the desire to make it happen, right? And it feels good. But how do you find time for yourself to unwind and literally like put business to the side for a moment and figure out, like, okay, what do I want to do, like, right now? What's going to make me happy in this exact moment? Whether that's go to a restaurant, go somewhere else, go on vacation. Like, what is it for you to decompress?
The interesting thing is that recently I haven't really had to think about that a lot, because I would typically let the wife make those decisions. So she would say, like, hey, what do you think about this thing for the weekend? Like, should we go? And I'm like, yeah, why not? I don't care. So typically she kind of runs the social life, and it makes it very nice for me, because I would assume that I have a much higher stress tolerance for bullshit than her. So when she gets close to that, like, okay, I've had enough, like, I'm not really focused anymore, and things are just not going, like, we got to go decompress, we got to go do something. Like, she'll come up with something and then we'll go do that. So that also keeps me from the rev limiter a little bit, so I don't get too far down that way. But some of the other things that I really want to incorporate into it, and I've taken on like 2 businesses that are not typically what I do. Like, number 1 is the restaurant, and number 2 is this podcast studio. And to be honest, like, when I go to the restaurant and I'm just kind of like chilling there, and I'm like looking at what's happening, and the people are coming in to eat, and we're just trying to improve little things, and it's kind of like a hobby now.
Yeah.
Because before I thought, I'm like, oh fuck, restaurant is tough business. But then realizing, like, everything else that I've done, I'm like, oh my God.
It's way harder. Yeah.
This is so, like, it's
so
a lot
chill.
easier, and it's instant, and you make a difference and it changes right away. Whereas, like, like in real estate, it's like fucking millions of dollars, like so many people, so many hands, so many people to be responsible for, from the auxiliary team, like the lawyers and the accountants and the brokers, then to the investors, then to the construction guys, and then to the end user. Like, that's so many people that when you look at a restaurant, it's like, that's fairly simple. So it's kind of fun. And then the podcast studio as well. It's like, I don't know everything about it, but it's fun to learn, and it's fun to talk to my team, and they're giving me information about, like, da-da-da. So now, like, we're going to go look at the restaurant, but my sound engineers already put together, like, what we're going to do for the sound there. And I'm like, oh man, this is really fun, because this is kind of like going together. So that's kind of what I'm doing to decompress. And I chose to take those things on. Number 1, so I can keep the ADHD full, so there's enough things going on. So I'm not like, and number 2, I think that the dog helps. We got 2 little dogs, off-roading adventures and cars. That's always been a staple, right? So we got a couple project cars outside. There's a couple of like Colombia off-road adventures that we're booked to go on. And I think that those like private life, like little adventures are super fun in Colombia. Because there's so many places to go. And
so
you're just
cool,
like,
too.
wow,
And the terrain is wild.
Yeah, it's a crazy map, bro. It's a crazy map.
Yeah, you got to unlock the map.
Unlock the map,
yeah. It's nuts. That's something I do as well. Like, I like to get out into nature. Yeah. Like, coming from a place like Chicago, it's so flat. Like, we have a lake, which is sick.
Yeah.
But like, we
do
don't
you guys go swimming?
Crazy people do, yeah. Because I mean, like, most of the year it's cold, and then in the months that it's hot, it's still cold, because it freezes, and then it thaws out, and then you're just like swimming in like melted ice, basically. Yeah. So it's still cold. It sucks. But if it's super hot out, we'll go. We'll actually get in the water. Nothing like the beaches out here, though. Yeah. Santa Marta, you've been to Santa Marta?
No, I haven't. I wanted to check it out.
Dude, Santa Marta, I think, is one of my favorite cities. There's a lot of history there, too. Yeah. It's founded in, I believe, 1825. It was the second city ever founded in all of South America. Columbus was there actually at one point.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I have a funny story about that. Like, actually, the most danger I've ever been in Colombia was in Santa Marta, and it had zero to do with people. Yeah.
What did you do?
Do you want this story?
Yeah.
It's a you gotta strap in for this one. This is this was this is just me being stupid. But I was at a beach called Playa El Güero. And
Yeah.
this is like a very calm beach, and the water over there crystal clear, warm. Like, it is amazing. Like,
Yeah.
if you haven't been, definitely go check it out. It's very like going backwards in time. Like, if Medellin is like in current times, let's say, like, right, like up to speed with modernization, over there, bro, you're gonna see like a family of 4 on a motorcycle with like chanclas. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like they're
Yeah.
they're still getting there, right? But they're coastal people, so they just have a different cadence, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, there's like mountainous terrain. It's beautiful. It's super beautiful. So Playa El Güero has an old Pablo mansion, and he positioned it right there because there's only one road that leads from the town there. The other side is a mountain, and then the other side is the Caribbean.
Right.
So like, there's no direct access to it, right? But on the other side of that mountain, it's just like a bunch of rocks that you could technically free climb. So I was like, let me go free climb some of these rocks. So I start climbing, right? And I have all these in my camera roll too. I'll show you after. But I'm catching videos and pictures that I know nobody has. Because like, there's a group of people at like around there-ish, but like they maybe climbed over like 2 rocks or so. I was like, let me keep going. Because I looked on the map beforehand. I'm like, I know at some point I'm going to hit a beach. So if I know I can continue to go forward, I'm eventually going to hit a beach and like, I'll be fine. So I keep going. I'm at the point now where I can't even see them anymore. And I'm documenting this along the way. And like, there's like crabs and crustaceans and like all this crazy stuff going on the rocks. And then like the waves are coming up and hitting. So I got to go a little higher up. And then I get to a point where I'm like, okay, I got to commit here. Because if I go over this rock, there's no like coming back the other way. So I was like, am I going to send it? And mind you, I'm in a backpack with a speaker playing like some Mexican corridos, and I'm like in chanclas, bro. And I'm
In chanclas
in
too,
chanclas,
yeah,
yeah.
that's what
I got
you
a
need.
video. I took a picture of the chanclas. So I cross over, and like I'm like, oh, I see that beach. It's like I'm like, it's right there. So I cross over that last part. I'm free climbing all this, by the way. And like, if I fall at any point, I'm dead. Like,
Yeah.
it's a 30-foot drop into Shark Rock. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I get there, I see it. I'm like, oh, sweet. I finally made it to this beach. A bunch of dogs come meet me like at the rocks, and like they're aggressive. And like, if you've never been to the coast, the coastal dogs are like, they're different, bro. Like,
Yeah.
they're not the dogs you see here that are all like wearing like sweaters and boots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These are not dogs you see in Santa Fe, bro. These are wild, unsnipped dogs, man.
Yeah.
So these guys come running out at me, and they're barking, and I'm just like swinging my bag at them. They go run back up into this little house, right, at this little beach. So I realize, oh, this is a private like house and like private beach. I'm like, oh, it's not good. And then to get around that, it's impossible. There's like a massive mountain that goes all the way into the water. So like, I'd have to swim around or go backwards. So I'm like, okay, cool. Well, there's got to be a road that leads to this, right? That leads to this property. So let me just trespass and go up to the road through the way, right? But these dogs just keep coming back out at me. So I'm like, okay, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And like, they're aggressive. So I get to the beach, I take off my backpack, put it down, and I start like looking on my phone, like, okay, I'm gonna call whatever this property is. Maybe it's a hotel or something. No service. So I'm like, oh, okay. Let me try to like go through the gate and see what I can do, right? I like open the gate, and all of a sudden I hear the barking again. They all come running at me. So I run into the water. They go into the water with me. So now I'm like 15, 20 feet into the water, and I'm on my tippy toes to like stay above the waves at that point. And they're like, there's like a line of defense of the dogs like in the water. There's like 12, 15 dogs, just a line of them. And I'm like, oh man. And I see a camera in the palm tree, and I'm like waving. I'm like, yo. So I'm just waiting in the water, and like, what am I gonna do, right? Nobody's here. There's a bunch of dogs. They're not letting me go. Eventually, 10, 15 minutes pass, they go up. So I'm like, all right, go back on the beach. And at this point, I'm like, okay, if they come back out, I'm committing to swimming around this massive rock. And I know for a fact there's another beach, like an actual, like more public beach down further. So if they come back at me, that's the only option I have. So I take my phone out, I take my wallet, take everything I have, put it in my backpack, put it there. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like maybe somebody comes out and saves me. If not, I'm swimming. Dogs come back out. I start swimming. So I'm swimming. I turn the corner of the rock. I look, it's literally like 1,000 yards away. No, I'm a good swimmer, but I start swimming, bro. I start swimming, and the people at this beach, it's like a hotel strip.
Yeah.
It's a hotel strip. So it's like all these like people like, I don't know, doing kayaking, whatever. And they just see me coming in from like super far out. And they know that there's nothing on the other side where I came from. So they're just, these people are looking at me. I'm like swimming. I get to the beach. I like walk up on the beach. I'm literally in swim trunks and that's all I have on me at this point. And like these people are looking at me and they're like, what? Where this guy just spawned in, right? Like, so I just like go, my Spanish isn't great at this point either. And mind you, in Santa Marta, bro, they speak like, it's not Spanish. It's like a different language altogether. It's Spanish, but it doesn't sound like Spanish. He's laughing. He knows. He knows. Dude, it's like, I had no idea what these guys were saying. And like my mom's like white boy, like only white boy in Santa Marta at this beach. And I'm like asking her, hey, you got a boat service. I need to go get something. And the guy's like, oh yeah, go to the far end of the beach with the guy in the blue vest and he can help you out. I'm like, okay. So I'm walking across the beach. I get all the way to this blue vest guy and he's like, nah, bro, shop's closed. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, look, it's almost sunset. I'm like, bro, please.
Bro, please.
Please. He's like, oh, here, you know what? Ask a hotel. Like there's all these hotels right here. So, okay, whatever. So I go to a hotel, walk up to like a guy that's like standing outside. He like stops me. He's like, where are you going? I was like, hey, can you guys help me? Like, I left something at the beach over there. I actually just swam over here. They're like, you swam over here? I was like, yeah. I was like, can you guys help me? They're like, yeah, we got you. So they're like, come with us. So they take me, bro. They bring me to the police. You know how the police are here, bro. So now the police
are insane. Just fucking institutionalize them right away.
Yeah. So the police come up to me and they're like, what's going on, right? And I'm like, and they're like, pull out your phone and give us like translate. I'm like, I don't have my phone. They're like, where's your phone? And then I like point like all the way over. They're like, over there? And they're like, where? I was like the playa privada, like the private beach over there. And they're like, what were you doing over there? I was like, well, I was climbing rocks. I was like, just give me my bag. Like, let me get my bag. And they're like, okay, yeah, we got you. The police say, oh yeah, we got you. I've heard this like 7 times now. I'm like, well, okay, who actually has me? Now they bring a guy. They're like, oh, this is the guy that's gonna help you. I look, it's just like some local guy sliding a kayak through the sand. Tosses me a paddle and says, all right, let's go. And but like, before you go, you have money, right? I was like, yes, in my bag, which is over there. So if you want the money, we got to go get my bag.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, they're like, okay, cool. So now I'm in the kayak with this guy. Now we're kayaking. I'm warning him, by the way. I'm like, bro, when we get to this beach, be careful. There's like some crazy dogs. He's like, man, I'm local.
Right. They know me.
I'm local, man. I'm like, okay, bro. Okay. So we're going, bro. The waves are starting to pick up because now it's sunset. You know, the moon comes out, the waves get crazier. So we're like going around this rock. Like, I'm like, please don't tip. Like, I've never been in a kayak. I'm like trying my best in the back. I'm like hitting the guy in the back of the head with the kayak paddle. I'm like, this is horrible. We turn the corner and look, my bag's gone. I'm like, no way, bro. No way my bag is gone. So we pull up to he's like, your bag is here, right? I was like, it was right there, bro. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, he's like, well, what are we doing here then? I'm like, bro, I promise you it's right here. So we pull up onto the beach. He pulls the kayak up onto the sand. And he's just looking at me like, what are we going to? Dogs run out. Bro, this guy runs so fast into the water. He's swinging the paddle at the dogs. I like, this is my 4th time doing this rodeo. So I was like, all right, like, here we go again. Let me get back in the water. And I'm looking at him and I was like, yeah, like, you weren't afraid, right? He's like, he gained respect at that point because I was like, yeah, I warned you. And he was acting cool, too cool. And now he's looking at me. He's like, what do we do? I was like, bro, now you're in the same position I was in before. We're in the water now for like 10 minutes. A family comes out.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, thank God. They come out, they have my bag. I'm like, oh, thank God. And they're like, yeah, like we saw you on the camera. Like they tell the dogs to get away, whatever. And they're like, yeah, we saw you on the camera. By the time we came out, you were gone. We're like, where did he go? And I was like, yeah, I swam over there. And they're like, oh, you're crazy. They're like, and I was like, oh yeah, look, everything's in there. They didn't touch any of my money. They didn't touch anything. I was so thankful. I was like, thank you guys so much. I'm so sorry. Like I didn't mean to do this. I didn't know I was going to lead to here, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh yeah, that's okay. Let's get, like, we're glad you're safe. I was like, well, you guys are awesome. Thank you. They're like, but your chanclas are gone. I think the water took them. So I'm just barefoot. Right? No, I had one chancla. And I was like, all right, cool. So this guy's like, yo, we got to go. The sun is setting. Like the waves are getting rougher. So now I have all my stuff in the bag again. And we're kayaking. And the waves are like rocking us. I'm like, this is the worst time to flip because I have all of my everything, my phone, everything. I'm like, oh, please, no. So It's like sun is setting, it's getting darker. In the distance, in the mountains, I see a thunderstorm brewing. I'm like, no way, bro. No way. So like, let's go. Like, hurry up, hurry up. So we're kayaking back. Nobody's on the beach now. It's all closed down. There's only the police officers, and they have like the flashlights on, and they're like trying to like wave us in to like come in right there. So we pull up, and they have their phones on with the flashlight, and they're like, mira, mira, it's Christopher Columbus. They just start roasting me. They start roasting me. They're like, look at this white boy. And then they're like camera in my face, like full on flash, everything. And then they're like, look, he only has one shoe. Like, they're just roasting. I'm like, all right, guys. Like, it's funny. I have my stuff now. I feel better. Like, the stress is off of me. Yeah. But like, all right, shut up. Like, so they're like, all right, you guys, you got to pay for the kayak. I'm like, yeah, I got you. Like, come on, we'll get to it.
Mira, Christopher Columbus.
Yeah, bro, crazy. Some police officer in Santa Marta has that video on his camera reel still. I kind of want it, but so they're roasting me, man. And then they're like, I'm pulling my wallet out. They all have their cell phone lights on, like looking like, all right, let's see how much this guy's got. Let's rinse him for everything. Right? I had like, I don't know, I had like 50 mil on me. So these guys are like, well, it costs more than that. I'm like, brother, I only have this on me. Like, they're like, all right, well, give us all of it. And I'm like, dude, in Santa Marta, Uber doesn't exist. It's all taxis. So you can get like InDrive, or you can get a taxi. So everything's cash payment there when you're moving around. I was like, well, you guys got to leave me with a little money. Because remind you, I started at the beach. There's the private beach. And then I started at the public beach beyond that. And now I've gone, I think it was like 2 miles to get home at that point. Yeah. And it's just a highway that connects to there. And I'm like, one chancla and no money to get a taxi. So I'm like, oh no. So this lady like saw it all happening when I first got called Christopher Columbus. Yeah. This lady was just in the background, just like laughing, just some local. Like she was there for the chisme, right? So I'm like, oh God. So I pay these guys off. They're like, well, you sure you don't have any more money? I'm like, yeah. You guys rinse me for everything. I got to walk barefoot home. So I'm like, I throw my other chancla away. And I'm like, I start walking. It's like cobblestone. I'm like slicing my feet up, trying to get to the highway so I could start walking up the highway. This lady's following me. And she's like, ay, papi, ¿dónde vas? Like, hey, baby, where you going? Dude, she's like 45. Like, definitely has like multiple kids. And I'm like, this is like the most random time to like be soliciting to me. Like, and she's like, oh, we could take the bus together. Like, let's go to your apartment. I'm like, what is happening? Like, I'm just trying to get home. This thunderstorm is like almost on us at this point. I'm like, well, I'm just trying to get home, man. And so like, I'm asking, I'm like, okay, so if I go this way, that'll take me to like the area I need to go in, and like this way. And she's like, yeah, so this way. So as soon as she tells me that, I bolt across the street to the other side of the highway, and I just hit it with the deuces. And she's just like, what happened, baby? And I'm like, no, I'm out, bro. And so I start walking up the highway, and I have my hand out, I have my thumb up. Yeah. I'm just like trying to hitchhike somebody. Yeah. And like a motorcycle pulls over, and he's like, what's going on, man? And I'm like, bro, I remember, I got $2 mil in my back pocket of my backpack. I'm like, bro, I got $2 mil. Can you take me home? He's like, where are you going? I'm like, first exit to the left. He's like, hop on, bro. Hop on, barefoot, backpack, no shirt, swim trunks. Thunderstorm's hitting. This guy thinks he's Mad Max. Yeah. He's flooring it through the highway, and like we're getting rained. At that moment, I just closed my eyes and like felt the wind like blowing through my hair. I was like, if this is how I go out after all of this, like I think I'll be at peace. Yeah.
Like, you're ready. You're like, I'm almost ready to go.
Yeah, it's like, this is okay. So I just like getting rained on. I was like, this just feels like a movie at this point. So somehow make it home, pay him the $2 mil. I was like, bro, thank you. And then there's another American I had met in my building. I knock on his door, and I'm just like, bro, you'll never believe what just happened. I just spent the rest of the time on the balcony watching the thunderstorm pass and tell him the history. But that was the most like danger I think I've ever been in Colombia.
Jesus Christ, that's insane.
But like I said, it's a long one. But
at least there's no sharks.
Yeah, but there is sharks in those areas too. Yeah. Like there could have been.
There could have been between sharks and dogs. Where do you go?
So people say, "Oh, is Colombia dangerous?" Maybe the animals, the terrain, but the people are great though.
Jesus Christ, dude! Wow.
Yeah, good one though.
That is a good one, man.
Yeah. I wish I could reenact it.
Yeah, this is why guides are good.
Yeah, this is why you guys should use me, because
Yeah,
I went through the bad situations to learn how to do things the right way.
there you go. Speaking of which, who would you say is your biggest influence or coach or mentor in your life?
Mm. It's a really good question. I think I pull from multiple sources. I think it's good to be well rounded in who you take advice from. Also, a really, really good advice I got once upon a time was if you are taking advice from somebody, look at where they're at in life and imagine if you want their life. So put yourself in their shoes. And if it's not a life that you want, don't take advice from that person,
Mm,
because the things that they did in their life led them to that point that they're at right now. And if you're not happy with the outcome that they have, maybe they're happy with it. But if you're not happy with that same outcome that they have, don't take advice from them. So I think it's really finding people in the space that have the life that you want, right? So out here, for example, like when it comes to the travel business, like meeting other people that have been in the travel business longer than me, in the tourism business, taking advice from them because they obviously have the more experience and they've been in the game longer, they've seen more things.
yeah.
And I think that applies for everything in life, right? You can take business advice from people, but that doesn't mean you should take personal advice from them. Or that doesn't mean that you should take financial advice from them. That doesn't mean you should take relationship advice from them. So I think you look at people that have the success that you want in a certain area of life and then follow them in those specific areas that you want the same success in.
Very interesting. So you kind of segment it into like departments of whatever it is. If it's relationship, somebody has a good relationship,
Hmm.
then listen to them for that, but not necessarily about business or other things if that's not what you would want to live or sort of emulate.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I think another thing that is maybe a pitfall for people is they idolize or they look up to and follow the lead of maybe people that have more notoriety or fame,
Mm,
So like if you're in the real estate game, there's obviously like big real estate moguls that people follow, right?
yeah,
Or, like Robert Kiyosaki, for example.
yeah,
He has really good content, really good books. But at the end of the day, he doesn't know you. He doesn't know your personal situation. He doesn't know your life. He also doesn't, not to say he's a bad person and doesn't care about you, but he doesn't care about you because he doesn't know who you are,
yeah,
right? So I think sometimes people get caught up in looking up to maybe an influencer in social media
yeah,
or somebody that has a lot of success in a certain area, and they like try to model their entire life off of that person. Dude, you don't, as much as they don't know you, you actually don't know. You only know what they want you to know about them, which is what they're putting out to the public, what they're publishing book wise, what they're publishing podcast wise. You don't really know what's going on in their personal life. Maybe they have turmoil. Maybe they're super happy. You don't know. So I think it's really important for me to only take advice. Like you can learn from people like that. There's a lot to learn, but I think taking personal advice has to be from people that you know personally in life.
hmm,
So, because then you can actually see the fruits of their labor, like what they've actually created in life, and decide, is that what I want or not?
very interesting. Wow, that's actually similar to me. I mean, I've had coaches and read books and gone through things where with people that I don't really know. But at the end of the day, it's always been the ones that I personally do know. Like for example, um, one of my mentors, Chris Rude, he knows pretty much everything about me. He knows my personal story. He knows my life. He knows like the rise and fall and trial and tribulation that I had during COVID in Canada and getting to the States and stabilizing myself and everything. And he was there to help with that. So he has like this personal sort of he's invested interest in my success, and that kind of makes it a little bit different because you get to know, like, I know his family. He's got a beautiful family, amazing kids, great relationship with his wife, and then awesome network, right? And they all stick together. It's the Allies Mastermind Network. So when I joined that, I felt really at home, and I was like, "Oh, I'm amongst my people," and I still have great friendships with people there. Every day we still stay in touch. But when you sort of look at like Grant Cardone, I don't really know Grant Cardone. I've listened to some things I like, I don't like, but I don't have that, and he has no vested interest in me. I have none in him. I don't know what his personal life looks like. He's a Scientologist. I'm not. It's like, like,
Yeah.
how does that factor into the whole thing of what you're listening from? Because a lot of the things that he might say come from a certain belief system. And that's a very interesting way that you put it. So it's sort of very important to look at the specific department of their life that they're doing well in, that you like. And then beyond that, you got to make sure that you somewhat know them and they somewhat know you, for you to be willing to exchange that information. That's interesting.
Yeah. I think it gives you a well-rounded perspective on a lot of different things too. Because I think it can be dangerous if you just pick one person and you're like, I take all of my advice from this one person.
Yeah.
You know, I think that could have its dangers. I mean, we're all unique people at the end of the day, so why not pull from multiple sources when it's available?
Very true. Very true. What would you say was your biggest mistake?
Mm. I think my biggest mistake was probably not trusting myself enough at an earlier age.
Mm,
And I'm only 27, so I'm not saying this as like looking at it as like, oh, I regret, right? I think if I continued down that path, I would have regretted it down the line. But I think there was always, I think the from a younger age, my confidence came from being athletic and being good at sports. You know, I was picked. I'd be at recess. I'd be picked near the front of the line. Right. I was never the last kid picked for anything. I was had confidence in that. So when I stepped on the baseball diamond, when I stepped on the basketball court, when I stepped on whatever field, I felt like, okay, like I believe in myself. I trust myself. After injuries, all that went away. Right. So then I was like, okay, where's my belief in myself now? Like, what does it stand in?
mm,
So it was like a period of time when I was in my teens where I actually almost died in a car accident. And that's what kind of took me out of the racing for, you know, playing college ball and stuff like that. Although I had the opportunity to and scholarships to do so. It was just a matter of this isn't smart for my health long term. Like it's only going to put more damage on my body, and I don't want to be, you know, hurting when I'm older. So, okay, let's cut that dream. That was the initial dream. Like, let's become a professional athlete, right? All right, cut that dream out. Now, what am I without that, right? And that was a question, right? And then it's like I didn't feel like I fit in anywhere. You know what I mean? I had always picked like the path less traveled, and on the path less traveled, there's more people looking at you saying, "Why are you going down that route?" You know, everybody's going this way. Why are you going the other way? So that being like dropping out of school with scholarships, dropped out with a presidential scholarship and in-state tuition, in Texas Tech. So as soon as I dropped out again, that's like bringing more attention towards me, where people are now like, okay, well, what are you actually doing? Like, because the stigma at that time of like a college dropout is like, okay, you're gonna catch me working at the movie theater in a month. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's like, how do I overcome that stigma? And it's like, oh, can I? Like, am I capable? Or am I that? Is that me? Am I that person that's just gonna like regress into a life that I don't want because I made bad decisions, right? But I made those decisions initially because I had the belief in myself that I was going to be able to do better or become what I want to be. So I think it was always a constant battle of like, did I make that right? Was that the right decision? Or am I just going to be like that typical dropout or that typical, you know, had a big dream and fizzled out, had opportunities and didn't succeed in any of them. So I think learning how to balance that and understand like I have to do 5 times more than anybody else to prove to myself that I'm worth it. Whereas like somebody that is satisfied in an office job, you landed that job that one time and you continue through it and you raise through the ranks over time. It's more linear, like you said. But I believe in the J curve with everything. I don't know if you know the theory of the J curve. Yeah.
That's very, and I love that you said that, because that initial self-doubt and the overcoming of it, I think is paramount. I think it's completely necessary, because the way that you now have your self-tested with the social media presence and the growth of all your channels and becoming an influencer, and that's the same feeling, right? Because last year you weren't that. So the same when you were in Texas Tech, you know, and then you dropped out. Well, last week you were a student and now you are a dropout.
hmm
But you got to be able to handle that same like difference of people's opinions about you and your own opinion about yourself and what you're doing and the decisions you're making, so that when things like this happen, you can deal with it. Because I think that back then, if instead of you dropping out, you just got like, you know, a million followers, you would have probably blown up, because you weren't ready for that kind of extreme change.
hmm
And that's why it's so important to fail, but you got to fail fast, because the quicker you do it, the more lessons you pick up along the way to prepare you for the greater thing. And that's the same way I look at like the hotel. Like I've had multiple failures in one area of hospitality where we had wins and then blow up and then wins and blow up. And then finally, boom, like the ultimate thing happened, which was better than I even imagined. And it's like, oh, I am so prepared for this.
Yeah.
Like I'm more than ready. Like this is amazing. It's difficult. It's hard. There's things that you got to still figure out, but it's manageable. Like I have utmost confidence that I can do it. It's just a matter of you got to go and do it.
Yeah.
Instead of like, holy fuck, what do I do now?
Yeah.
There's these guys that are investors. There's these guys that are contractors. There's the guests, and everybody's has their own opinion and complaints and worries. And then, you blow up.
Yeah.
But all that shit along the way to get into here, you're like, we got it. Don't worry, all good. And it is.
Have you read Go for No?
No.
I think you'd like that. It's literally like this big, so it's like it's a day read.
Yeah.
But the whole principle, it talks about a sales team, and the whole concept is like the more that you get no, the faster you learn, right?
Yeah.
The more no's that you get, the closer you are to getting a yes as well. So when you said fail fast, it made me think of that. And the whole concept was like the guy that got the most no's in the office was also the top sales rep.
Yeah.
Because he failed enough times to get to the yeses.
Same in high school. The guy that got the most girls is the guy that got rejected the most.
yeah, it applies to a lot of things. But it's exactly that concept. And I think people look at failure as a singular thing. It's like, oh, I failed in this. But failure is actually part of the process to success. So when you look at it through that lens, when you fail at something, you're like, oh, cool, I'm getting closer to success.
Yeah.
But a lot of people look at it and they say, oh, I'm a failure. Right. So I think when you change your mindset about failure, it's going to change the outcome about the outcome of your reality.
Yeah. Agree 100%, bro. Agree. Let's get into the rapid fire round. What's a book that changed your life?
Ooh, a book that changed my life, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, yeah. That's a classic. I think that's a must read for everybody.
Yep.
Definitely.
I think that applies to anybody. I don't care if you're in business. I don't care what you do. Like you need to learn that.
Yeah. It's really, really good. Even if you're just dealing with your friends and family, it's still super important.
Definitely.
Now, this was a fun one. We talked about it. Who's a character that you identify with that is in any fiction, nonfiction, movie, book, anime, whatever, cartoon?
Yeah. Aang from Avatar.
Boom.
Last Airbender. Yeah.
Why Aang?
Aang, he started off very alone, right? They found him in a block of ice.
Yeah.
Broke him out of that thing. And then from there, he had to like catch up to speed, right? He was behind everybody. Quote, he was behind everybody with the potential to succeed past everybody. And I always felt like that, like in the sense of like, I dropped out, like, okay, I'm behind everybody now. Oh, like, I always felt like I was behind with the potential to succeed beyond everybody else. It's kind of like the turtle and the rabbit, right?
Yeah.
The slow and steady, right?
That's right.
And like Aang is I think his superpower is bring everybody together, right? If you look at everybody's got, the Rock Nation, you got the Air Nation, you got the Fire Nation, Water Nation, all of them kind of like have their own clique and they're all kind of cool with each other. But when you kind of go outside of that, it gets a little weird. I feel like I resonate a lot with Aang in the sense of like, I know how to bring people together. I think one of my superpowers is networking and knowing how to bring the right people together and create really successful groups or friend groups, whatever it is, right? So I think I really resonate with him. And then just knowing that like inside, I believe he dealt with it himself too. Like he had self-doubt. Like, am I supposed to be the Avatar? Am I really that good? Like all my ancestors, all of my lineage says yes, but do I actually have what it takes? So like that self-doubt he kind of goes through, and like he has the lows and the highs, obviously. And a lot of times he's also alone. Like he goes on a lot of solo missions because nobody understands him at certain points. When he's in his little like shadow realm, like talking to the spirits and stuff, like nobody in like the real world is understanding what's going on with him. So he has to go through some stuff alone and figure that out and deal with that, manage that while dealing with what's happening in reality as well. So I think I relate and resonate a lot with that.
Oh, I love it, man. Amazing. Aang, the last Airbender.
Yeah. And you said what, Goku?
Goku. Yeah, for sure. For sure, Goku. Always push beyond limits, and that's the curiosity and the drive behind everything. What is the limit?
Yeah.
How do we get there? What's your biggest red flag in a person?
A red flag in a person. I think when it's take. Yeah. When you guys know the people.
Yeah.
There's people that it's not how's your day, how's it going, what's up, how's life. So it's what can you do for me? What can you do for me? And I think especially when you have a business or you have access to things, the more those people start to show up.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, look, this guy has access to these VIP things. He's got access to this, that, the other. Let me see what I can get. Let me see how much I can get with giving nothing in return. Now, if you're a friend of mine like Nemo, if you go, bro, I need a private jet, bro, I got you. You know what I mean? But if you're just somebody that like I just meet and they're asking me, oh, how do I get access to the network that you have? How do I get this? How do I get that? It's like, bro, who are you? Like first, let's start with that. Like, who are you? What do you just want to take everything that I have and provide literally no value in return? Relationships don't work like that. In business, in personal relationships, in relationships with a girlfriend too. Like if the girlfriend's always asking you for stuff and giving absolutely nothing in return, that's a one-way street. So I think when people are being one-way streets, it's such a red flag to me. Because I'm always about, I want to add value and ask for nothing in return to start a relationship.
Yeah.
If I need a favor, I know who I can ask, but it's like, I'm not just going to ask everybody for favors and give nothing in return, especially to start a relationship.
Yeah. No, I love that. Makes a lot of sense. What's the best money you ever spent?
Ooh, my one-way ticket to Medellin.
Hey, let's go.
100%. Yeah, it changed my life, man. Like changed my life.
Sir.
Traveling solo, man. I think traveling solo really changes you.
Oh, it does.
You learn so much about yourself. I have a really good friend from back home, and he sent me a video, and it said something. It was along the lines of like, "Hey, it's really cool to like go out and do something on your own. Go to a movie alone. Go to a restaurant alone. Go do something alone. It actually takes more power, and you learn more about yourself than leaving it up to your friends to decide when you guys can go out. Because then you're putting control of your life in somebody else's hands. So when you travel alone, that's like next level.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't yet, go to a movie alone. Go to a restaurant alone. You want to go to like the next level? Travel to a foreign country where you don't speak the language with no context alone. You're going to learn everything you need to know about yourself.
Oh, that's so true. It's so underrated. It's amazing. I mean, I was lucky enough to work in, sales very early on and construction and have to drive around alone and eat alone and be in places alone. And sometimes you got like an hour to kill, so you'll go watch a movie alone. And it was awkward at first because you're used to going with your friends, but then later it just becomes normal and you become more and more comfortable with that time with yourself. But traveling alone, I mean, some of my favorite times in my life was when I was just driving across America by myself and just figuring everything out as you go.
Yeah, it's like a relief too.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden you don't care about what else is happening in the world. You're just like, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think what you learn about yourself is more important than what you could read in a book and learn from a teaching. I think learning about yourself is so important.
Yeah, I agree. What's something that you changed your mind on recently?
Something I changed my mind on recently. It's better to have a small circle of really close friends than a large circle of people that just kind of know you. Yeah.
And before you thought the other way?
I think some people when you're younger, you like the idea of like, oh, I'd love to be popular, right? I'd love to have like a bunch of friends. I'd love to know everybody. And that's okay. Like you can have a lot of acquaintances, but I think who you let into your like smaller circle and who you let into your personal life and who you tell like your real problems to, that needs to be very select people. That shouldn't be aired out. Not that I was airing that stuff out, but when you're chasing popularity or when you're chasing being known by a ton of people, everything's surface level. Sure, you have a mile long list of friends that all go an inch deep.
Yeah.
I'd rather have 1 square foot and we go 10 miles deep.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes a ton of sense. I like that, brother. I like that. What's a 60-second message to the world?
Ooh. I think something that I really believe truly deep down is like follow what you actually want to do. People get so caught up in other people's opinions. People get so caught up in what your parents expect you to do. People get so caught up in what your teachers tell you you're good at and that you should pursue. I think at the end of the day, like if you really truly believe in something and you want a specific life path, go for it. Go for it. It doesn't matter if you feel like you're too old to do it. It doesn't matter if you feel like you're too young to do it. It doesn't matter if you feel like, oh, I was born into the wrong family. I was born into the wrong country. I don't have the opportunity. I think victim mentality is a horrible disease that's infecting a lot of people in the world. I think when you realize that when bad things happen, you can learn from them instead of choosing to be a victim. Sure, you might be a victim of a certain scenario, but if you choose to be the victim of every scenario, you're never going to actually pursue the life that you want. And I think that that's the biggest disease affecting people right now. It's caring too much about what everybody else has to say and what everybody else thinks. Instead, just live your life, be yourself. I think what has helped me grow on social media so quickly is because I think people can feel I'm authentic. I don't tell people what they want to hear. I tell you how I am. And then when people meet me in real life, they're like, dude, you're like just like your videos. I'm like, yeah, bro, because that's me. That's me. So be authentic, chase your dreams. Doesn't matter what everybody else thinks about you. If you want it, go for it, and be loud and proud about that. Don't be shy. When somebody asks you, oh, what do you want in life? Don't be like, well, like I'd like to have like a Lamborghini one day. Like, no, bro, say that with your chest. Like, be proud about what you want. Don't feel ashamed of your dreams and your goals, because at the end of the day, it's your dreams and your goals. So,
boom.
Yeah,
I love that, bro. How can people get in touch with you?
You can find me on TikTok, Remote Roberto, on Instagram, Robbie Lifestyle, ROBBIE. And then Lux Liaisons is our business out here that runs everything travel and everything luxury in Medellin. Anything you guys want to do out here, tours, guides, transportation. On the higher level of things, you can go around in helicopters, private jets, access to mansions, special events, things like that. Yeah, hit me up and we could talk, see if it's a good fit.
Awesome, brother. Thank you so much
Appreciate
for coming
you, Nemo.
on, man.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Always a pleasure. Guys, this was Robbie on Nomology. And until next time, peace out. Fear doesn't leave first. You got to move first. That's the difference. And Robbie's story proves that losing your identity can either break you or rebuild you, depending on what you do next. If this conversation hit, share it, subscribe, and follow Nomology for real conversations about mindset, risk, and building from zero. See you next time.